While a young Dylan is at school in New Mexico with his buddies, a young Rebecca is about to go sledding in New Hampshire. Dylan can suddenly experience everything Rebecca does, even though he has no idea why. Dylan is thrown from his chair as Rebecca loses consciousness after colliding with her sled. 20 years later, Dylan has been released from jail and Rebecca is now married to successful Dr. Philip. One evening, Dylan is in a nearby pub trying to avoid trouble and Rebecca is at a dinner party with her husband. However, he receives a pool stick blow to the back from a man he had been playing with earlier. Rebecca is knocked to the ground by the impact, which she cannot explain to the dinner party host. Her husband then reprimands her for her actions. The following day, Dylan and Rebecca rekindle their friendship and discover that by speaking aloud, they can hear one another, see what the other is seeing, and feel what the other is feeling. When they try to get into each other's thoughts, it doesn't work in that way. By doing so, people show that the presence of the other end is a person and not just a figment of their minds. Later that night, they started talking and getting to know each other. After showing one another around, sharing dreams and experiences that have taken place since the first meeting, and eventually stepping in front of mirrors the following day for the visual introduction, they part ways. They get closer each day. Meanwhile, Dylan's friends ask his help to commit a crime for which Dylan is not ready. Dr. Maynard hears Philip mention that his wife has suddenly been hesitant in his presence. They both suspect something strange about her. Rebecca helps Dylan to ask for a date with Donna, a lady in the bar. Their encounters with Rebecca at Philip's fundraiser and Dylan dating a woman caused them to become closer. Rebecca responds unexpectedly to Dylan's house fire accident after something goes wrong. Dylan doesn't like Philip being with Rebecca, and neither does Dylan like Rebecca dating Donna. Later that evening, they both professed regret for what they did to one another. Dylan's boss and co-workers notice him acting strangely the following morning, and they have their usual conversations. On the other side, Rebecca's husband notices that she has grown distance from him and is baffled and alarmed by the strange behavior he has seen while in contact with Dylan. When Rebecca asks about his sober background, Dylan gives it to her. He also mentions that she is the best thing that happened to him and declares his admiration for her. Dylan loses his job at a car wash because Dylan's co-workers worry about his mental health after noticing that he appears to be talking to himself. Two long-time criminal acquaintances threaten him as he works to put his criminal past behind him and pressure him to use his abilities as a burglar to aid them in executing a heist. Rebecca wants to cut off their communication after realizing that Dylan loves her and that she is starting to feel the same way. When one of her friends confides that Rebecca is either having an affair or losing it, Philip and his medical colleague institutionalize her against her will. Dylan later decides that Rebecca is in danger and to get to the airport without breaking the terms of his parole, he illegally departs the state by flying to New Hampshire to save Rebecca from mental facility. He borrows one because Dylan can't hire a car at the airport. He uses his criminal expertise to assist Rebecca in leaving the institution, including picking door locks while she gives him psychic direction on the best ways. Dylan is being pursued by multiple police cars as Rebecca escapes detention until she reaches the front door, where she runs into her husband and punches him before leaving the building. They succeed in escaping from their separate hunters, and they both wind up on foot and rushing through the woods in the search of a train. They can board a barren box where they eventually meet in person and share their first kiss.